To by the Heat Ratio Sports Network. This show brings the temperature of sports to a whole new level. Whether it's a local opinion or a national agenda, everything is fair game. Remember, everyone has an opinion, but only few can back it up. Now sit back, crank up the volume, and if you think you can handle it, get ready for the Heat.
We are live right here. Heat Ratio. Listen, man, something wrong with that video. But here's the thing: when you play it back, it doesn't look like that. It's just really strange. But again, got to be someone with StreamYard. All good. We got Jigsaw, we got Dan, we got Al. 2-minute warning. Listen, man, this is just going to be a Philly-centric show. Usually this is the Eagles reaction show, but guess what? Sorry, Eagles. You got to move over for a few days. I know it's Dallas week, but we can take care of that later. But we have Game 1 reaction show right now. Atlanta Braves, Philadelphia Phillies, man. Listen, not so many things to talk about. And we haven't even talked about since we closed out this series, the wild card series. So we actually have that as well. The LOL Mets, they do what they do best, and that's choke, which we love every minute of that, right? Exactly. Javon checking the notes, fighting Phils, man. Listen, I don't even want to get long-winded, man. All I'm going to say is, before I just want instant reaction. Like, I want everybody to let me know how you're feeling, what you were feeling in this game, because I think there was a bunch of highs, a little bit of lows, some nail bite moments, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're there. So a lot of interesting moments for me, but man, all I'm going to tell you boys is, don't you guys remember, and I know I remember, but I just tell everybody, just relax. Nick Castellanos will be okay. Relax. Now, again, right? I wasn't saying it was going to wait until the NLDS, but what I was saying is Nick Castellanos will be that guy. And my God, damn, did he or did he not be that guy today?
Well, he was that guy, and he needed to be that guy, because the other that guy, Reese Hoskins, is like
Stiff.
abysmal, and I can't take him anymore. And that's the only other thing we have to have hope for, that he gets hot, because he's.
And if he does,
I mean, think about it. I mean, I think he got a hit today. I'll be frank. My knowledge of the game today was in snippets. I'm a teacher, elementary school teacher, so I was teaching all day. We had an assembly at the end of the day, so that was the only opportunity. I was like kind of like watching my phone with the game breaks, but I wasn't seeing live action. So I caught the highlights and listened to it on the radio. So I didn't get to watch any of the game.
Yeah, he had one hit. He had one hit.
Right, and I don't know if it was a scorcher or a bleeder. So, but the bottom line is, I think at one point he was 1 for 20, one for his last 27, and you leave Derek Hall off the roster. Why? Because you have some kind of allegiance or loyalty to Reese Hoskins. I would have Derek Hall on the roster, and dare I sit Reese? Yes, I would. I'd sit him for a game and see how Hall does. Now, getting back to Castellanos, why? What's Hall going to go 1 for 27?
I don't know because you never. The only problem is you never know when Reese is going to go off. So I don't know if you want to take that chance.
I'm willing to take the chance. I mean,
me too.
When
you would, Tone, too?
You have a feeling when a batter's in the box whether they're going to do something or not, and he looks like a dead man in the batter's box.
Listen, Dan, it's almost like today, right? Like a lot of people were saying, "Hey, how come Bryson Stott doesn't get the start, and Sosa gets a start?"
Right,
again, because Thompson was feeling something. It'd be the same thing. I mean, what do you? I don't know, man.
Feel it for Hall and Sid Hoskins if he was on the roster, but that decision's made easy because he's not on the roster. Yeah. Real fast, getting back to Castellanos, and I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, so I'm gonna say what I've been saying via tweets to my friends, you two not included, unfortunately. I don't know why I didn't do it, but Dave Glockner, myself, my buddy David Y, who's not a podcaster, constantly tweeting about the games. And honestly, I was angry as hell in the 2-0 game in particular, that Castellanos was even in the game on defense. You have to have Vierling in right field at the end of the game. Now, he made that terrific catch for Nick Castellanos today. It was a great catch. But Vierling probably makes that play belt high, right? So, to me, they took Schwarber out of the game. You needed to have Schwarber, Marsh, and Vierling as your defense at the end of a playoff ninth inning game. I mean, Castellanos did his deed at the bat. He made a great play for him in right field, but he's slow-footed. We're not going to mistake him for Jason Worth. And Matt Vierling's a hell of an outfielder. So defensive replacements need to be considered. In that one game versus St. Louis, Tone, I believe they pinch ran Sosa for Bohm. So that took care of a master plan that I had. My master plan before the pinch running scenario happened was put Bohm at first, Sosa at third, Maton in left, Marsh in center, and Vierling in right to close out the Cardinals game defensively. You got to have your great defenders out there at the end of the game. Honestly, why Castellanos was in right field is actually baffling. Great play aside. Vierling, Vierling, you had excuse me.
What do you mean in the last inning?
Well, hold on. But you have the kid, they put Maton out of this playoff, and they brought in I can't think of the kid. Guthrie, right. Guthrie's a good outfielder. So now you could have Guthrie in right, Vierling in left, and Marsh in center. That's a good defensive core in the outfield.
Well, here's what I'll say.
You can't say if they blow a lead, you need the bats later in the game.
No, but I'm going to go 100% by length. And I think that was the decision. What I mean by that is, they were hitting a lot of balls to the right side of the plate, okay, or right side of the field. And I feel like he looked at, and he even said this in his press conference, they asked him about Guthrie, and he said, quite possibly some of those plays could have been over Guthrie's head. So I honestly feel as though he thought that, Castellanos may not have the speed, but he has the length. So he's looking at the way the game was getting away from him. The momentum was shifting. You got a guy like Acuna who hits the crap out of the ball the other way. You get a guy like Riley hits the crap out of the ball the other way. Dansby Swanson hits the crap out of the ball the other way. And he says, you know what? In a big ballpark where the ball can fly in the right field, we have a guy in Castellanos that can actually reach up and make more of a play. I don't know.
I think that's utter nonsense. I don't hate it. Speed.
I don't hate it. And I'll tell you why, because
it turned out well. But how about what were your thoughts? We didn't discuss the Cardinal series, as you mentioned. What were your thoughts to my points when they were up 2-0 against the Cardinals, and both Schwarber and Castellanos were in the outfield? How do you do that?
I still think it was because of bats. I know you don't want to hear it's because of bats, but this is the postseason. It's a 2-0 game.
So you anticipate Eflin blowing the lead, and we need the bats for later.
Well, because you have a guy. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
That's a good way to manage.
Or trusting too much, like I talked about. He just loves his guys, and he just counts on them to come through.
He does.
I mean, and who can complain? You saw me tweet you the other day, Tone. Like, who can complain when it's working? Everything he's doing is working. The other game, Marsh didn't start, and you started what's the name in center field. I know everybody was like, well, why isn't Marsh? Because he had a feeling. I mean, what can you say when it's working and we're in the second round of the playoffs and we're up 1-0 on the Braves at Atlanta?
They're indeed strange victories, right?
Well, I think here's the thing, though. We need the question because this is the postseason. And it's the first postseason that Rob Thompson is in as a manager. So there's going to be a lot of decisions that he makes. Like, listen, in the wild card game, I still say that was the wrong decision to pull Zach Wheeler in that game. Okay? It was the complete wrong decision. I don't care if it worked out. Doesn't matter. It was wrong.
Was he over 100?
Hold on. He was at 94 pitches. Wasn't at 100. He was at 94 pitches.
I thought he was at 100.
No, he was not.
Was that
no?
Was that what's the name that was 100?
He was at 94 pitches. He comes out. He blows away the first batter. Still hitting 96 on the radar, by the way.
Yes, he was.
Okay, and then he takes him out, brings in Alvarado. Totally wrong move.
I agree with you.
You go batter to batter, in my opinion.
I agree with you 100%. He did the same, and I think he took Nola out one batter too soon. He should have faced Yachty.
Yes,
because you've got to plan ahead for this weird bullpen situation we have developing, especially with Robertson, pulling his.
Oh, we got to talk about that, Tony.
We'll talk about that later.
But I did it.
I've done it. I did it. Listen, I tweaked my calf demonstrating the standing broad jump in gym class.
Oh my God.
I'm recovering right. I'm in rehab right now. I get it.
How do you do that, dude? Really?
Yeah. Well. Yeah. And
doesn't take much, man.
Bottom line is, Tone, Mike, I hope to some extent the painting, like I call it managing by numbers, experiment is a little bit over. You can't just plug and play Eflin anymore. He's got, and here's what I told Al pre-show, and to me, this is the most logical way to put something. As a former baseball player, never at an elite level at college, but the bottom line is when you face an Alvarado and then Dominguez, who looks like he's got his game together, and that's a godsend right there. You face Alvarado and Dominguez, and now you get Eflin. You're like, woo! I'm not. There's no fear anymore at the plate. I mean, he throws strikes, but he's hittable. He doesn't have a nasty pitch. His velo is like really low. He used to be a mid-90s pitcher.
He was hitting 94, 95, 96 today.
I didn't see today's game.
He's not hitting 101.
The Cardinals game, he didn't get any higher than 94. He was around 92 both games. I didn't see today's game, so I can't go there. But you know, I would have put it. I would still like to see Alvarado or Dominguez back in the ninth inning if they definitely righted the ship.
Can let me ask you guys this. Can we complain if it's still working, or can we complain if it doesn't work one game and then we get burned?
It didn't work today.
It did work today.
Wow, they still won, but you can't give up that 3-run homer, Tom.
No, hold on. Eflin as a closer did work today. And I'm going to tell you why he worked. Okay. And not to mention, I want to figure out about Javon here. He because he's talking about Sir Anthony, which is right what you said, Dan. And the one thing I said about Sir Anthony was the one thing about Rob Thompson is he didn't go by numbers, because if he went by numbers, Sir Anthony doesn't come out for a second inning. Rob Thompson said, look, I'm sticking with this guy. Number one, you got the Robertson injury. I don't know who else he was going to have. But number two, the way he was pitching, I mean, he was blowing them cats away.
Yeah, if your pitch count is low, extend them.
Yeah. Right. But you know, Dan, sometimes these managers say one inning, I know. 1 inning only. That's it.
But yeah, so this was a not pitching by number scenario because he's literally out of bullets in that bullpen.
Right.
You go to Nick Nelson and or
but here's the thing about let's get back to Zach Eflin. The one thing that I think that we're all missing on, you know, I spent a whole off season with you guys, talking about Jalen Hurts, and the reason why I was so all in on Jalen was his intangibles, not his abilities, not lack of or arm strength or his intangibles, which means he always fights back against adversity, his leadership qualities, right? Zach Eflin showed me today that dude don't get rattled for nothing. And you know who gets rattled? Jose Alvarado. You know who doesn't get rattled? Zach Eflin. So you say what you want. Listen, Matt Olson hit a very good pitch. Did he leave it up a little bit? Yes. But again, he came back. The next batter, Castellanos, made a great play, obviously. Okay, but then he comes back and he mows out the next guy. Not every guy has that moxie in an NLDS
to forget about it and go to the next pitch. You're right. You're right.
So in my opinion, I think he's the perfect guy. Does he have all? No, I get it. And he's still working on that. Like that's the funny thing. This is a closer project right now.
Right.
In the National League Division Series that we're seeing.
Yeah, but in 2 of his games though, he gave up multiple runs, right?
He did, but they weren't sloppy runs.
Do you trust him though?
I was about to ask that too.
If it's 2-1 in the ninth inning, be honest with me, Tone.
If it's 2-, yeah. Right now, yes.
With no margin for error.
Yes. No margin for error.
Only because he has showed me his poise and his way that he's not letting any. He's like a carbon copy of Rob Thompson. Like,
all right, so
I'm good.
Poise doesn't mean anything to me if it's now 2-1 lead and now it's a 3-2 defeat and he walks off the mound poised. That means nothing to me.
But again, you don't know that, right? You're asking me like so again. Okay, so let me put in a Jose Alvarado, who has shown me, okay, even though that Rob Thompson made the bad move, who showed me he can be hit. Okay, a guy came off cold, Juan Yepez cold off the bench, and hit 100-mile-an-hour heater up in the up in the left.
He hit a 95-mile-an-hour cutter that shouldn't have been called for. He should have.
Doesn't matter. Woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Well, I'm saying, that's right. that's part. That's a little to JT's responsibility for calling that pitch. You throw heat, but the bottom line, Tone. I guess we'll have to pull the old Jody Mack agree to disagree.
Agree, disagree. Yeah.
Only from the perspective of, listen, I'm thrilled that this team is winning in ways I've never seen them win the whole season. So from that perspective, you got to tip your cap. And when they put things together, and with Nolan and Wheeler, you have that feeling they're always going to go deep because they're in they have that kind of vibe to them. And if the sticks get going, the only issue you have to really fear is this bullpen, and perhaps what are you going to do with your Bailey Falter type scenario?
Let me ask you this, Dan, because I think you admitted this a few episodes ago when we were talking about in 08, right? You said the most important part of that bullpen was Ryan Madsen, right? So right,
Dave Glockner said that.
All right, so Dave, okay, but
I understood his logic. I understood,
but you agreed, right?
Yeah, he was a stud that year,
and I agree as well. The bridge the lids, right?
Yeah.
It was all about the bridge the lids. So right now you have a guy, Robertson, who was going to be your setup guy, is no longer your setup guy. So now you have to think of your bullpen as who's more important, your setup guy, your closer. And what I am looking at right now is it looks like Sir Anthony was very comfortable today. Now, listen, he came in before and he looked very uncomfortable. Today he looked very comfortable. A closure mentality sometimes, not everybody's made out to be a closure. Not everybody.
I agree with that. Heck, Daenerys is a great example.
Right. So not everybody can close games. So I really feel as though maybe, you're going from, like I said, just from your actual poise and composure as your number one priority right now because of so much is at stake. But we got checking in. We got Orlando checking in. Hello from Argentina.
Hola.
Look at that. Listen,
what time is it there?
Are you a Phillies fan? Are you a Phillies fan from Argentina? That's what we need to know.
I want to know what time it is.
Yeah, exactly. Let's find out what time it is right there, man. Javon says, I trust him more than what I saw the Mariners do tonight in ninth inning. Again, some questionable decisions. So I don't know, man. I think, look, all I know is, we're at 1-0 in a 5-game series.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's
huge. Oh, look.
Very big.
He says it's 9 p.m. here. He says, yes, I'm a good follower of the Phillies. Nice. So Rolando, you got to be happy, man. You got to be happy. You were probably pumped as well, man. What are you thinking? Let us know what you're thinking over there from Argentina. What are you thinking of game 2? We got game 2 tomorrow.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Thanks for joining the Heat Ratio Live show, man. We appreciate it. Al, tomorrow, 4:37. You got your man on the mound, man.
Yeah, and not only do we have our man on the mound, I need those bats again. They can't go silent because he's on the mound. We're going to need. I just funny you asked me that. I just was thinking about that while I was waiting for you to come to me. I'm thinking, what do you guys think? 4 to 5 a game to be able to beat the Braves. You can't. We're not beating the Braves 2-1, 3-2. I think we need 4 to 5 runs per game, and maybe a little bit more according to certain games, because some weird stuff happens. Maybe one of the big guns aren't on their game. So who knows? Look at this game. Look at how high it got. Because they should. To me, me and Dan was talking about it before we came on. They should have been. The game should have ended with them at 3. I don't like that they got some momentum. I really don't. And they're at home tomorrow. It's the next day. It's not a day in between. I just don't like that they got any type of momentum. I wanted them to be at 3 at the end of the game. But I need 4 to 5 per game to have a shot in every game. And if we could get that with Wheeler, I think we're gold tomorrow. And then sky's the limit after that. Sky's the limit.
Sky is the limit, man.
When you get four runs and then Rangers out of the game in a heartbeat, you knew it was going to be an interesting game today.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the pitch count was up.
Yeah,
you're like,
what was it, 22 in the first inning, something like that?
He had like 64 in the third, man.
Yeah,
it was like
you knew once it became a bullpen game, it was like bite your fingernails time.
Well, all I know is one thing I'm happy about is thank God I got John Smoltz and not A-Rod calling these games, man. A-Rod was a butcher, man. He was brutal.
Kevin Stockton and John Middlebrook.
Oh my God.
That was hysterical.
He was off on so many it was brutal. But no,
hey, you guys, let me tell you something real quick. I was listening to the game on the radio, right? So I didn't hear. So I was on ESPN radio. Tim Kirchin. This is like a breaking news thing, but it's not good. And it's not, you don't worry about it right now, but think about this in the future. He said, we're going to go two different ways. Either Harper isn't going to get he's going to get some small surgery and he's going to play hurt next year, or he's going to get Tommy John and he's going to be out for the whole year. So now that's not this year, but next year when this season is over, that's going to be a problem. Which way is he going to go with that? And maybe he's saying that when Tim Kirchin is saying that is pretty gold. So that's a future problem to worry about.
I think his answer is based on if they win the World Series this year or not.
Yeah, I mean, but that's major. That's major. It is. Or he said, like I said, the small surgery was just going to be. He was just going to have to play DH the whole next year again. Now imagine Harper the whole year DH again because he can't play the outfield unless he gets Tommy John.
Well, here's the thing, man. That decision was already made 4 months ago. So when he had that UCL little procedure, right? You know, when he got the shot and, you know, he was out, it was already a foregone conclusion that he was getting Tommy John in the offseason. Okay. Everybody already knows that. That's already he's not playing next year. I'm telling you that right now. That's why he's going he's hurt right now.
Oh yeah.
Okay. That's why he's batting 237. That right. He knows right now. He knows that again, that he's doing more damage than anything, but he wants a ring.
Right.
He wants a championship. Javon says maybe does small because he joined the World Baseball Classic team. You know, again, I know that he
and JT's on there too, right?
What's that?
Isn't JT on that team already too?
But he already knows he has to get Tommy John surgery.
Okay, I mean it does no sense to continue playing baseball.
I mean it's the only thing that's going to permanently fix what he has, right?
I don't like seeing what Javon just posted.
What do you mean?
That he's playing in the World Baseball Tournament. Shut it down.
I mean, again,
work like.
So you're thinking that the surgery is going to be after that tournament will make a difference?
So here's the thing. I mean, I don't know if Javon can help us out. I don't know when he committed to that. You know,
I was just going to ask that.
I don't think he just committed to that.
When did he do it? Did he do it, or did he at the beginning of the season?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know when he committed to that, but I do know from talking to a lot of people that it's pretty inevitable. Like what Kirchin said, that he needs to get Tommy John surgery.
And I'm assuming he'll bow out of that tournament.
Yeah. So and again, I think, you know, he's an all-in player, man. And I think that's why it means so much. And again, look, would you trade 1 year less of Bryce Harper for a world championship? I know I would.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Right?
Everybody was talking about their soul for Eagles Super Bowls. Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Of course.
Exactly. So I'm all in on that, man. I'm all in on that. But one thing I want to say, to get off the Bryce train a little bit is, and I know Javon said this earlier, and this is one of the things I was tremendously focused on, talking about the team playing small ball and doing the fundamentals to win the game, playing with house money, having fun. I'll tell you what, man, what they did today just shows, again, that this team doesn't have to hit you with the long ball. And that was the problem with us for so many months, right? So many months. And it just, it just says to me that this is Rob Thompson put his stamp on this team. And you heard this plenty of times from a lot of well-respected individuals around the league talking about Rob Thompson as being a very fundamentally sound guy. I mean, I know people weren't happy about it to see Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper try to throw down a bunt today. I'm sure they're thinking, but this is the postseason. This is live or die from series to series, from game to game.
Soto did it too the other night.
What's up? Yeah. So you do what you have to do.
I was a little shocked with it. I was a little shocked when he did that because it's a big bet.
He said back in August, it was reported that he intends to play.
Okay.
So he intends to play. Again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Rolando says, I'm sorry. Rolando says, well, it looks like Ronald Acuna is having a good season. We'll see how it goes tomorrow, but he looks like it's going to be very tight.
He's a stud.
He is, man. I'll tell you what, not just Acuna, but I know a lot of people were talking about the Dodgers lineup and me.
Riley's scary. They have a scary team.
But this Braves team,
yep.
Like just 1 through 9, I'm thinking, who am I not afraid of? This Contreras kid can smack the ball around, right? You got Michael Harris Jr. could smack the ball around. Yep. You got that stiff Travis d'Arnaud. All of a sudden now he was supposed to play for us 10 years ago. Now all of a sudden he puts it together against us.
He was in a holiday trade, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, remember he was untouchable.
Yeah,
he was untouchable.
Tone, to Javon's point, check this out. About a month ago, a buddy of mine he always sends trivia questions. He goes, what have the Braves done that no potentially 100-win team or no playoff team has ever done? And that is, they got to 100 wins or the postseason, whatever the question was, without ever having a sacrifice bunt during the whole season.
Really?
That goes to Javon's point about a different era of baseball, and to your point that Rob Thompson has a little old school.
Oh,
so it's
I got it. Great. I'm gonna look for this stat that somebody tweeted. I'm gonna look for this stat that somebody tweeted me earlier about the Phillies. It was unbelievable. I was like, "Are you sure about that?" But then I looked it up, and he was right on point. Go ahead, keep talking.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. So, Javon says they have a scary team that's all under contract for multiple years. I'm telling you, they do. They're young, homegrown,
and Swanson might go, and they're going to put Grissom right in the spot.
Isn't that crazy?
It's not fair.
That's all right.
Great player development, man.
It is. It's great player development. And I definitely slept on the Braves lineup. I can tell you that. But it's funny because all I heard about is how Max Fried is this tremendous pitcher, and listen, I know everybody has their days, but I don't know, Danny didn't look like no tremendous pitcher to me.
No,
today.
the guy that scares the crap out of me, and I'm glad they're babying him right now, is Strider.
Yes.
Spencer Strider. Now he might come back now, which if he's coming back, it means we're doing well, because that was the rumor that they're going to sit him out of this whole playoff round if the Braves take a 2-0 lead type of scenario. But Spencer Strider is the real deal. I mean, that guy is scary good. Charlie Morton, thank goodness, has had a little bit of an off season, and we get Kyle Wright tomorrow, right?
Yes, Kyle Wright tomorrow.
Against
Wheels.
with our lefty latent lineup, I like the fact that we're only facing one lefty, and we took care of business with the lefty. The only fear you had with him is that we're lefty heavy, and we came out with 7 runs. Before
you got it. So it says the Phillies have 6 sacrifice bunts. So only had 6 sacrifice bunts the whole season, but they have 4 in 2.5 playoff games, and two of them was today.
Yeah,
which was crazy. When he said, I'm like, wow, that's great stat by that guy. And we haven't sacrificed. I remember during the season, people were awful at doing the sacrifice, and when they had to move runners and missing the bat and popping up pop-ups for bunts. And I mean, we had disaster all year with sacrifice and bunts and stuff like that. It wasn't working very well, but hell, it's working right now in the playoffs.
And again, I hate to revisit a previous topic, but along the lines of sacrifice bunting is defensive replacements, pinch running, stuff like that. And Thompson has done the pinch running, but let's also not forget we have a very abysmal first baseman too
Yeah.
defensively. So there should be an option to, you know, again, Hoskins should not be in the game at the end. I mean, there's so many scenarios in the history of baseball. The famous Phillies Black Friday where they left.
If
I was going to say the famous Black Friday moment with Lazinski staying in a game. The Bill Buckner incident when they had, they should have defensively replaced him. So I mean, and his reasoning is he wanted him to leave him on the field to celebrate. Well, look how that went. So you got to have forward. And listen, I like Thompson. He deserves this contract, obviously, but and again, I'm very nitpicky, but certain things.
You're making a good point, Dave.
I don't think putting better defensive players in when you have a lead is negative nitpicking in my
He's done it all season. He just hasn't done it with Hobson. He hasn't done it. He's done it out in the outfield. He's done it at third base when we got Sosa. So he's done it. He just hasn't done it on first base, and we all know why. So there's nothing wrong with that. He should.
Well, we know one thing: Georgia doesn't change the freeze.
Yeah, I froze up.
You look like a Chinese karate movie right now, Al.
Yeah, it was just in droves.
Did you guys hear what I said?
Yeah, it was just segmented. Okay. You had your own little segment. But Rolando says we don't have baseball here in Argentina, so we pay very good attention to Major League Baseball. That's good. Wow. As long, listen and pay very good attention to Major League Baseball playoffs because I'll tell you what, man.
Jump on that Eagles bandwagon too.
Well, I gotta ask Dan this because he's the hockey guy. Because I've always said that the most exciting playoffs are the NHL playoffs are so exciting, and baseball is extremely exciting. I'll tell you what, man. I used to think that the hockey playoffs were more exciting than anything. No, to me, it's Major League Baseball number one and NHL number two. Dan, what do you think about that?
I get your point. I mean, because we saw some phenomenal games. Listen, I get where you're coming from. I mean, the Blue Jays game was sensational against Seattle. Obviously, what I'm drawing a blank. What the kid from the Padres did to the Mets was sensational.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, listen, you're not going to ever sell me on anything because the baseball is by nature a slow-moving sport. So from that perspective, I'll never say it's hockey's less exciting because it's constantly fast-paced. There's always hitting in the playoffs. You don't even need fighting in the playoffs in hockey. It's just fast-paced hitting. So from that perspective, the constant motion to me leans in the favor of hockey slightly. But I totally get your point. These baseball games have been tremendous. I mean, and when you have when you have a tremendous game that turns into a tremendous series, a la I hate the 75 World Series, the 80 Phillies pennant against the Astros, where every game was a nail biter. So yeah, there's nothing like, and a lot of it's people's mindset. I mean, I on a lazy Thursday in the middle of the season, I'm not watching an ESPN game of Seattle versus Cleveland. I'm not, but I'll watch every inning of every minute of every baseball. Every pitch. Just like I don't watch a minute of soccer, but I watch the World Cup. So you get motivated to watch special events, and playoff baseball is a special event.
Yeah, but the thing I'll say about baseball is, and this is where you'll have to help me out. I know, well, with all due respect to the normal fan, Nicky Nuts is not the normal fan. So, he stands in the entire game. But, they welcome to the Knicks show. But shout out Nicky Nuts. But no, I mean, I look at baseball and it's like funny. I was talking to my wife who actually loves baseball. Crazy. She won't watch any other sports except baseball and soccer, by the way.
Really?
But she's like, what's so exciting? I said, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. When we start watching this game, you're gonna look in the stands and people are not going to sit down. They're gonna be on their feet for every pitch. And that's what I love about Major League Baseball playoffs. That every pitch is that important. Every at bat is so important. So different because, like you said, Dan, like I'm not waking up on a Thursday and watching San Diego and Seattle, right? Nobody cares about that because it's always, it's a 2 best out of 3 and it's a 4-game series. Who's going to win the rubber match? We just want to split, right? This is nothing, man. It's win or you go home. So I think, the emphasis put on this type of excitement is like no other. Speaking of excitement, and I'll tell you guys, I joined a break last night. And actually I got a Liv Morgan autograph card. If anybody knows Liv Morgan, I know she lost the belt to Ronda Rousey Extreme Rules. But I got a gem of a card and it cost me $6. So again, sports card industry is booming and now's the time to start collecting again. And no matter what the sport, like I just said, WWE, I mean, shout out Bray Wyatt for coming back. The novelty and value of hobby is at an all-time high. That being said, our good friends, J&N Sports Breaks, is a Facebook page where it all comes full circle. Started by John and Nick, 2 blue-collar guys. All they do is work from the tri-state area, and they come home. They put this page together. It's a fan-friendly atmosphere. Everybody talks to one another in this group. They have like 330, 335 followers on the page while giving the collector what they want, whether you're new to the hobby or a seasoned collector. J&N has a break for you. Make sure you're following today for all the free promos, games, and giveaways. Like I said, I joined late last night for a WWE break. It cost me $6 to get 2 spots, and I pulled out at my spot a Liv Morgan relic autograph card, number 33 of 99. Really happy about that. And as a bonus, mention this ad and you'll receive $5 off your first break. Remember to follow J&N Sports Break on Facebook and also on the Whatnot app at J&N Sports Break, all one word. You follow them also at J&N Sports Break on Twitter as well. They are the sponsor of this segment right here. And I can tell you what, man, listen, the one thing about these breaks, the way it happens, it's going live. It talk about excitement. I mean, you're sitting there and all you see is my man Nick's hands and he's opening up the pack live on TV. And you're sitting there, you can put it on YouTube, on your TV, on Facebook, I should say, Facebook Live, put it on your TV, put it on your 64-inch. You're sitting there watching the cards as they happen. They put them in holders right away, put them on display, ship them out to you for free, man. J&N Sports Breaks is the way to go. Now, boys, we're about 37 minutes into this. We talked about we want to go about 30, 35. So we're going to go to the 2-minute warning here, Al. 37-17.
No pun
We're
intended.
2-minute warning right now. We'll hit that sound. So let's go, Al. You're for tomorrow, man. Let's just throw it out there. What are you thinking tomorrow and in this 5-game series? I mean, does this give you that extra incentive that the Phillies are going to go?
You had to come to me first. I was thinking already about that.
Come on, man. You already got to have these thoughts together, bro. Let's go.
I think we're going to do it. I think by the time we come back, you think it'll be game 1 or 2 by the time we come back? Because it'll be over Sunday, right? If it goes 5, it'll be over Sunday. So, yeah, by Monday, Tuesday, somewhere around there, it should be game 1. I think by the time we do our show next week, we'll have huge smiles on our faces because we'll be in the next round. Absolutely. I just have this feel. I think it's our year. I'm not saying we're going to win the whole thing. But I don't think the train is stopping right here. I don't know where it's stopping, but I don't think it's stopping against the Braves. I think we're going to find a way to win this series.
Dan, what you got, buddy?
I agree with Al, actually. You stole game 1. Ranger Suarez honestly scared me.
Yep.
And his pitching performance was, listen, again, I didn't see the game because I was at work, but seeing the stat line, maybe to Tony's points, maybe he showed some guts and perseverance in his, limited time. But we stole the game because they were sitting there and they could have started any pitcher, and they went with their ace in Max Fried, and we lit them up. And we're going to get at least 3 games out of Wheeler, Nola, Wheeler. I like our chances. I think we'd take this in 5 or 6. I mean, no, it's a 5-game series.
5
in 4.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, in 4. Okay.
Yeah, here's the way I look at it.
It doesn't go back to
Atlanta. To your point, Dan, and talk about
Rangers. Oh, you're thinking that? That's breaking news, Tony. He said it's not going back to Atlanta. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a 5-game series. If it goes back to Atlanta, we're in trouble, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Listen, everything that the Phillies couldn't happen today happened, right? Everything. You came into this, and you're coming in with a bullpen that's already minus your setup guy. So you need, number one, somebody to step up. Number two, you needed a starter to go at least 5 to 6 innings, which didn't happen, right? So that's mistake number one. Yes. Then you had to bring in a guy you probably didn't want to pitch in Malcolm Brogdon, okay, because you're down a bullpen piece. You
can't pitch point guards.
Right, and he stunk. Something that's why you didn't want happen, right? Number three, you didn't want to give them the opportunity to come in and to get momentum, which you gave, right? Yeah. Everything that couldn't happen happened, and guess what? You still won the game. I'm telling you right now, man, I like to Al's point, I can feel something special going on. Whether that means they win the World Series, I don't know. What I'm saying is every team gets hot at the right time. And we've been talking about this all year, that the Phillies, if they get in the playoffs, no matter what way they get in, will be the most feared team, right? We talked about that. So I'm gonna tell you this. Not only are they not gonna go in Atlanta, okay, but this is a 3-game series. Okay, I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay, and on top of that, San Diego is going to beat LA. Okay, so I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the Philadelphia Phillies and the San Diego Padres.
And I agree with Tone. I'd rather play LA than San Diego.
Yes, and I think it's set up for the Phillies in that scenario. Listen, there's no way.
Home field. No way.
Listen, no way that Zach Wheeler doesn't go 7 strong tomorrow and they don't come away with a win. I'm telling you now, not only will Kyle Schwarber place one in the upper deck in right field tomorrow, okay, Bryce Harper will do the same thing. You're seeing Nick Castellanos finally get hot at the right time. And again, we are playing with so much confidence. And they got the coach that they want, okay, the players that they want. Everything's falling into place. So I think today we took Atlanta's heart. I really do. I agree with both you guys. I didn't want to see that 3-run homer, give them any kind of momentum. But guess what? It's at the end of the day, it's still a loss. It doesn't matter. You can have all the momentum you want.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Because they got to your point, they got the momentum. They were spanking on the dugout, and they didn't make the comeback. Didn't come to fruition. So they got their heart pulled away again.
Just so we all know, Austin Riley's not going to have the game that he had. But guess what? Ronald Acuna is not going to go possibly 4 for 4 again, right? Because he was almost 4 for 4. Okay, so you have to look at the probability of what's happening here, and the probability says that the Philadelphia Phillies, okay, they're giving them a taste of their own medicine. And again, I'm getting long with it here, and I apologize. But and Javon says Tony's in his bag right now. But listen, here, this statement again. I'm going to make the same statement I've made numerous times. The Atlanta Braves won the World Series last year, not because they hit the ball out of the ballpark. They won because they played stellar defense. They pitched the right time. They made fundamentally sound running on the bases, and they had a fantastic bullpen. Guess what? The Philadelphia Phillies are following that same goddamn mold. They did not swing for the fences at all today. Okay, and that shows me that they're being trained to do things the right way and win at all costs. I'm telling you right now, this is the Philadelphia Phillies 3-0. Book it. Okay, we are going to be we're going to be on Broad Street. Okay, having swinging them rally towels. Red October is coming back to Philadelphia.
And quick question for you guys before we go. I just had this feeling when the playoffs started last week, it turned into a kind of a different team. Do you guys feel that the hitting is different, the fielding is different? It just feels totally different, like they turn a switch on and they're not the same team that played the regular season. Do you guys feel that, or is it just me?
Well, game one made me feel that they never. I think I shot Tony a stat that they were like 3-60 this year when trailing after what 7 innings down more than 2 runs. Tone, wasn't that the stat I sent you?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, they scored how many runs they scored in the final inning
6
without hitting the ball hard?
It just blue pits.
To Tone's point, they're doing. That's not. If you knew a Phillies team was going to score 6 runs in the last inning, you would think 3 home runs took place.
Right.
So they're doing it in a way they haven't done it before, and there's no crime in winning in ways you haven't done it before.
They got that swagger. They got that swagger right now.
They do. They do. Trevor checking in says, Jigsaw, did you see that Atlanta Braves fan get and throw a drink at a Phillies fan? No, I didn't see that.
I'm sure it's going to be on the internet soon, all over.
Well, no, it won't, because
the other way around
to
be on ESPN right now.
It's Atlanta. Oh, we did it would be everywhere.
Yeah, if we did it'd be all. It'd be on CNN.
Yeah,
top news. Move over, Biden. Phillies fan throws drink on Braves fan. Right? I mean, come on, ridiculous.
Typical Phillies fan being crazy.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man, it's insane. All I know is, I cannot wait to see. The talk about chills and goosebumps, and even when we go back and we watch 2008 and you watch those rally towels in Scissors Bank Park, it still gives you the chills. And get ready, boys. Get ready.
It's gonna be rocking Friday, boys.
Who I'm happy for are Tony's boys.
Yes,
Dave Glockner's boys, because they haven't seen that. Your boys were too young.
Yeah,
they haven't seen this in their, sports loving lifetime.
Yep.
And that's the brilliance of having this Red October back, is
the
kids in our area get the benefit from it. If not by watching highlights because they're at school while the games are taking place. It's ridiculous.
These times right now are how you fall in love with our culture, with our Philly sports life. When you have the game like it's going to be Friday, that's how you fall in love. AI 50-point playoff games, that's how you fall in love. Those type of things is how you get your love for the game.
And nobody has a fan base like us. Our stadium will rock better than any stadium in this whole playoff series.
100%.
We own fandom. I mean, our fans are the best. There's just no doubt about it. And our stadium will be thumping.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. We got Trevor. Trevor sent me the video. Let's start this up real fast. It's 40 seconds. Hold on, man. I love this stuff, man. Hold on. Let me throw this up. See if I can get it here. Here we go.
The beer throwing incident.
All right, can everybody see that?
Yes.
Castellanos is the man.
We hit him too. Laughed him in the
game. He's wasted too. You can tell.
Get your shoulder out of the way.
Wow, that was.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
Yeah, see, like.
He took it like it was nothing.
What's wrong with these people, dude? Like, seriously.
At least he didn't punch him. He could have punched him right in the, you know what, but he did.
I mean, what what are you expecting now? You know what I mean? It's like,
we're gonna hear that the guy was in the Braves fans' ear.
Oh yeah,
obviously all game being vulgar. That's what we're gonna hear. That's retort that video.
Give some type of excuse.
We didn't see the context in which it all happened, right, Tone?
Yeah.
Of course.
What did the Philly person do to make him act like that?
Right.
It had to be something. It had to be something.
Nonstop cursing and that's what it's gonna be.
Unbelievable. We're gonna get out of here. We went a little bit over, but that's okay. We got some good video from Barstool from my man Trevor. Checking it out.
Thanks,
as always, Heat Racer Sports. Make sure you're following us on all social formats. Make sure you're checking out the YouTube page. Just the Flyer Noise guys just had a preview for the Flyer season. Make sure you're checking that out. As always, just went Final Judgment episode 15, I think. went live this morning. We had some really fantastic stuff on there. And again, man, we're going to be talking some Eagles Cowboys coming up. May pop on, talk a little quick live. Who knows? Sunday Night Football may go live at halftime. I don't know. But as always, just make sure you're locked to Heat Ratio Sports because you never know what you're going to find. As always, man, everybody, for Al, for Dan, for me, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you back here right next time.